Hugh Jackson's feeling it. The Browns are feeling it. They are 1-1 right now through 3 weeks of the National Football League season.
He tried to deny us the talent.
The NFL Network analyst and writer for NFL.com, along with fellow NFL networker Matt Money Smith. He is the color analyst for Los Angeles Chargers radio broadcasts, meaning that it's a home game for him this weekend as Chargers take on the Rams, whose color analyst Maurice Jones-Drew, also of the NFL Network, will be joining us in the next hour. Good to see you, Daniel.
Good to see you, buddy.
Jeremiah. I wanted to start with that soundbite to, I guess,
Very
start the conversation.
Yeah.
As somebody who was evaluating this talent over the last several months. I mean, what'd you think of that comment right there?
Well, look, to me, he started, I think, 48 games in his collegiate career. So the development, I don't know what was really left. I mean, I think he kind of arrived as a ready-made player. So the fact that he wasn't playing early, I don't know. I feel like it's almost like you're driving around an amusement park, like on a loop, and going, "That's a great amusement park." Like, just get off the freeway and go to the amusement park. It's right there. You keep circling around.
I know. That's, you point out, Brockman. He's the one who was denying the talent from starting. But look, the bottom line is he got in because the Jets helped release the it. That's what they do.
Yep.
So we'll get to that in a second. In terms,
is that
of
a hashtag yet?
Release the it. Hashtag it. Well, let's start it. Your assessment of what you saw from Baker Mayfield last night.
It was. I don't know how you come away with any other takeaway that it was outstanding. I mean, to me, the biggest thing: no fear, no hesitation. Trusted his eyes and got the ball out. Was working in the middle of the field. You saw anticipation, you saw velocity, you saw accuracy, and the numbers could have been even better. I mean, when you look at some of the drop passes, namely the one to Callaway deep down the field, and more than anything else, Rich, it sounds hokey, but you could feel it. You could feel the energy in the stadium. You could feel the energy with his teammates. He kind of brought everybody up, and that was a lot of the things that were said about him at Oklahoma. You saw a lot of those things come out last night.
So how sustainable for 2018?
Well, he's got things that are going to sustain. I mean, when you can throw the ball that accurately, when you show that type of poise and that kind of no flinch mentality, I think that's something that's gonna maintain. You're going to see that throughout the year. Now he's going to have slip ups like any rookie would. He's going to see coverages that he doesn't recognize. He's going to make some mistakes. You saw a sack forced fumble last night. You're going to see some of that.
Well, it's a dropped interception in the end zone as well.
You're going to see some bumps in the road. But to me, you've got your guy. At least it's one game, but right now, small sample size. I'd be feeling great if you're Cleveland.
Okay, and so what about Darnold? What do you take out of the game from last night? He's fine. Okay.
I crack up at this. I mean, you mentioned it. 3 games in 10, 11 days. Short week, go on the road. You play against Greg Williams, a defense that's loaded with talent. I said before the year, I think Myles Garrett will be the defensive player of the year. I'm not backing off that from what we've seen through a couple weeks.
Good.
He's a freak. And I thought early on in that game, he hit Darnold, and Darnold got up a little bit gimpy. And I thought from that moment on, the Jets kind of made a decision. Look, we're going to run the football, and we're going to get it out quick. We're not going to subject our young quarterback to a beating back there. And so everybody's killing him. Oh, he's not throwing the ball down the field. I'm like, he's not going to have time to throw the ball down the field. They did what they had to do.
So evaluate, I guess, the idea of Mayfield versus Darnold that we're going to be seeing throughout the entire day in terms of taking, just to, I guess, put a button on that subject in itself. What we saw last night from 2 rookie quarterbacks under the lights, how sustainable are they? Do both teams have their guys beyond 2018?
Absolutely. I mean, I've said when we were going through this draft process, I thought this was an outstanding class. We talked about it a year ahead of time, and then as every year we start picking these guys apart. But I try to stay true to it and say, look, I think these guys are franchise quarterbacks. Whenever we see Josh Rosen, you're going to see it from him as well. Now, Josh Allen's a little bit more of a longer-term play. But Sam Darnold, what we saw week 1 on the road, that was impressive. What we saw week 1 for Baker Mayfield was impressive. And last week, I mean, Darnold, I think, threw for 330 plus against a Dolphins defense that's not bad. I mean, he is going to be fine. Both these teams are in good shape.
Yeah, I told the story about how on that Monday night Jets win over the Lions, as Isaiah Crowell ran in from about 70 yards out, as he creased the goal line, my phone goes off, and it's you saying you just wanted a contact high from a Jet fan. So how good are the Jets? I mean, what are they missing?
Yeah.
And I guess let me just phrase it through just last night. Why couldn't they stop Baker Mayfield? I mean, were they unprepared for him?
No, I mean, look, they got hot. They got into a rhythm. I think that you're, again, on that short week, it looked like they just kind of ran out of gas a little bit. Baker brought all that energy to Cleveland, and I thought the Jets looked like once you got into that second half, there was just not a lot left there for them. And that being said, they gave up 21 points, or was it 21-17 was the final score? So you keep a team under at 21 points, you feel good about your chances of winning the ball game. It just came up a little bit short. I think the Jets team is about more next year. I think the Cleveland roster right now, I would make a case offensively. There's more pieces there in place with Cleveland than there are for the Jets. That's what they've got to do in the future, build up around their quarterback.
Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. Are you going to personally eyeball the best team in football this weekend?
They are a complete team. When you watch the Rams, I mean, I'm just disappointed. If Joey Bosa was healthy, I think we could be talking about really two of the 2, 3, or 4 best teams in the NFL. And I think the Chargers have a chance to still get there. That's just a big piece you're missing up front.
So tell me about Bosa. What's going on with his foot?
I don't know. I don't feel like it's been talked about much on the national level. We haven't heard much about that. This is one of the best defensive players in all of football. All the focus has been on Khalil Mack in that trade. Well, the Chargers have been without one of the best defensive players. Now, last week against Buffalo, they were able to do some things and find a pass rush. And I'm telling you, when you watch this game, if people haven't watched the Chargers yet, watch number 33 from start to finish. While we're talking about rookies, Derwin James is a big-time dude, and if they're going to beat the Rams this week, he's going to be a big part of it.
So how do you think the Rams, who are geniuses with the coach and the playbook, going to scheme this weekend to try and go to 3-0 against these Chargers? What do you think?
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see what they do, because they change it up. They can morph into whatever they want to do depending on the week. I would imagine we might see a little bit more Todd Gurley, a little bit more of them trying to run the football early on. And try and establish that against the Chargers front. But, that's the thing about Sean McVay. You watched the opener against Oakland, went back and went through that tape. I think they ran 4 or 5 fly sweeps in the first quarter of that game, like first quarter and a half. And so then as a defense, you're scrambling. We got to make adjustments there. And then he never runs it the whole rest of the game. It's like he just gives you a little bit, then he kind of takes it away. So he can change this offense from week to week, really from quarter to quarter, makes them so difficult. And then, look, they shut out the Cardinals last week. Defense is pretty darn good, too.
Yeah, they Cardinals only got across the 50 in garbage time with about a minute and change to go. Do you think it's Josh Rosen time for the Cardinals? Do you think?
I don't know why. Again, it's the Mayfield thing. What are we waiting for here? I mean, the only thing different, I guess, is, man, they paid Sam. That's a chunk of change there for a short-term deal. But come on. Especially after that performance, as futile as that was. And Rosen is another one who's played a lot of football. He's polished. He's ready to go. There's the development is not really needed with him. Get him out there.
But you've been in front offices and in tape rooms. You've been in draft rooms. I mean, what goes through the minds of an evaluator and a coaching staff when you have an undeniable talent at quarterback and you do not throw him in the game? And I'm not saying that is the reason that they should do it every single time, because look at Mahomes. Obviously, 15 games of watching last year's regular season has, one would think, helped him throw
no question.
10
But that team,
year.
they had a better option. They had a good option in place there. I wouldn't say a better option, a good option in Alex Smith. The team was winning a lot of football games. That team, I believe, I haven't gone back and checked, but I'm pretty sure that Kansas City team with Alex Smith was crossing the 50-yard line rather frequently.
Yes.
So a little bit different situation there.
So who is the most impressive quarterback you've seen this week? I mean,
Mahomes. I saw Mahomes up close and in person with the Chargers game week 1, and he's outstanding. But I also think that's a combination. And I'm not taking anything away from Mahomes. He's been great. But Andy Reid is a play caller. Tyreek Hill and the pressure he puts on a defense. You've got Kelsey. You've got Sammy Watkins. They've got mismatches all over the place. And Andy Reid finds a way to match you up. You go watch him against the Steelers, Rich, there's a play where T.J. Watt is trying to cover Sammy Watkins 40 yards down the field. That's not a winning proposition for any defense. But Andy Reid every week finds a way to generate these matchups, and Mahomes executing that game plan beautifully.
What about Fitzpatrick? Why is that working in a way that Jameis Winston could not get it to work over the last few years, Daniel Jeremiah?
I'm not talking about Baker Mayfield playing with no fear. I mean, Fitzpatrick, obviously you can tell by his attire, there's zero fear in him. And it is ultra aggressive. He's swinging for the fences, down in and down out. And right now he's hitting everything over the fence. Now, eventually he's going to strike out, and that's going to happen. There's going to be some bumps along the way here pretty soon. It feels like just the law of averages that's coming. But, man, they have gone big play hunting. Everybody forgot about Deshaun and what he can do. And Mike Evans, what he did to Marshawn Lattimore, one of the best young corners in the NFL week 1, was pretty impressive.
So Daniel Jeremiah, I'd like you to draw upon all of your experience in scouting and evaluating and seeing as much film as you do. John Gruden's trying to put his finger in Oakland on why there is no pass rush and how he can generate one. Can you offer your 2 cents on that subject?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. But circling back to Baker Mayfield, we've been quick to praise him. Let's see how he does when he gets up to Oakland against Khalil Mack.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
What's that?
He's not.
He's not there. Yeah, no. The interesting thing about Oakland is they do have some good young defensive linemen, which that's a good thing. But it would be nice to see them complemented by Khalil Mack. I think they could actually have one of the best defensive fronts. We'll be talking about the Raiders a bunch because Hurst is a really good player, as you know, and Arden Key's got a chance to be good. And then if you had Khalil Mack in that front, it'd look a little different.
Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show with your feet planted firmly in the NFL community and also the college community and the scouting community all overall. Who are talent evaluators talking about at the collegiate level right now through just a couple weeks into the season?
Yeah, I was talking to an executive with a team that's been out on a scouting trip. He's been all over, seen a bunch of good players. I said, tell me, who are the top guys? Just give me some guys. I'm starting to watch some guys. Give me some names. And he just said, well, the Clemson defensive line, the Ohio State defensive line, and the Auburn defensive line. I go, okay, give me some numbers. Like, which guys? He goes, all of them. Okay, all right, there you go. Good place to start.
All of them.
Yeah, it's going to be a loaded draft for defensive linemen. So, hey, maybe when Oakland gets a chance and they end up having 2 top 10 picks and they come away with 2 of these guys that are on the cheap, maybe Gruden will have the last laugh.
Because that's where it's all at. Is Nick Bosa's the one, right?
He's a freak.
He
man.
just got hurt. I mean, he's going to have
surgery. I don't know how
now.
long he's going to be out, but I've seen enough. I mean, I watched him over the summer, and he's one of those guys where it doesn't matter the draft class. He's up there.
So he's
special.
We can install him potentially pencil him in as the #1 overall pick in Nashville next year.
Well, we'll see. Quarterbacks always move the needle if you need a quarterback.
Well, which ones do you think could move the needle?
Well, Herbert's really interesting from Oregon. He's one to keep an eye on who's just huge. I mean, I saw him before the season started this year. He's about 30 pounds heavier than he was the year before. I mean, he looks physically like a Josh Allen type guy. So he's interesting. I love Will Grier. When I studied him at West Virginia, is a good player. You've got Stidham at Auburn, who's a good player. Drew Lock's having a great year. They've got a big game this week. A chance for him to make a statement if he goes up against that Georgia defense and carves them up. We'll be talking a lot about him.
And how good is Tua? I mean, we had Trent Dilfer on Monday, and he's known him since he was in high school, and he's been pounding the table for Tua for quite some time. He says he's the most special player he's ever seen. In terms of throwing the football as well, most gifted. And as he said, he might not lose a game in college. I mean, because of where he is. Yeah. How good is he?
I'm trying to be careful on hyperbole with the guy. He's just a sophomore. Okay, he's still got to grow and learn and develop all that kind of stuff. Right. But I honestly think he's not only a left-handed Russell Wilson. He's a better version of Russell Wilson that's just left-handed. I mean, that's what he can be. I mean, he's outstanding. Just the instincts, the natural feel, the pocket movement. He throws a beautiful ball. I mean, it's just got so much spin. It's so pretty. And the kid, you saw it. He takes the sack in the championship game last year, and you're like, oh, there it is. He's first crack at it. They're done. What a dumb. And he just threw the game-winning touchdown. He just responded just like that.
And what a throw. And Jalen Hurts is going to maybe play more snaps than Tua when it's said and done. The way that they're just beating people up and taking him out.
Here's my question. This would be a fun game for you to do on the show every Monday. Brockman free of charge.
Okay.
So when Alabama beats these teams like they did Ole Miss, 62-7, I believe is what the score was last week.
It was indeed. Yes.
They are blowing the doors off everybody. But you know that Saban always has to have some teaching point, and he's got to get really upset.
Who's that person?
So what is he upset? Like every Monday, what is he upset about? Hey, guys, when we're stretching and I want you 4.5 yards apart from each other, and I look at a tape and you're 5.5 yards apart, that's unacceptable. Like you've got to literally generate something. I don't know what you can complain about.
It's always somebody making a dumb penalty, up 50. It's the offensive coordinator not running the ball to take the clock down when they're up 90. Yeah. I know it's usually that. But he's got A&M this weekend. I mean, that's the next.
Hey, Jimbo is going to win there. He's going to win there soon. I was down there before the season started. Got a chance to visit with him and watch them practice. And I went into their room and saw their recruiting board of what they've got coming in there.
Right.
They're going to win quick.
And, you're, again, calling the Chargers and Rams. Maurice Jones-Drew coming in here, top of the next hour. He calls the Rams game. Yeah. we could say it really is a battle for Los Angeles because USC and UCLA both look so.
Have you looked at UCLA's schedule, Rich?
It's not good.
Maybe one.
Really?
Maybe one.
You think so?
Go through it, Brockman, and tell me where the wins are.
In the meantime, while he's pulling that up, what's wrong with USC? Why are they not?
They're not good up front, and I've been saying this for a while now. If you look over the last 5 or so years, Zach Banner's like one of the only offensive linemen they've had get drafted. He was drafted, I don't know, 4th round. He's been on 3 different teams. He's not really a big-time player. The days of the Tyron Smith, the Khalil brothers, even, you go back to when they had those championship teams, they were putting linemen in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd round every single year. They're not good up front, and you saw that against Texas.
Well, how does that happen?
I don't know. They're bringing in 4- and 5-star kids every year. Something's happening between when they get on campus and when they're leaving.
Because the same thing I'm hearing from Michigan is that the offensive line isn't performing up to usual Michigan standards. I mean, that's one way.
And
to
there's
put it.
no excuse at those schools to not have guys.
That's what I'm wondering. Braylon Edwards put it a different way. Hit the UCLA schedule real quick here with Daniel Jeremiah.
At Colorado this week.
That's a loss.
That's a loss.
Home from Washington.
That's a loss.
At Cal.
Cal's pretty good. They're not bad.
Right.
Home for Arizona.
That's the one. I thought you got to win that one.
Okay.
Home for Utah.
Not beating Utah.
At Oregon.
Not beating Oregon.
At Arizona State.
Not beating Herm. How about Herm?
I know.
How about Herm?
What else is left?
Home for USC. Home for Stanford.
That's a 1 or 2 win team.
Jeez, for Chip Kelly's first year.
Ouch, babe.
Ask the poll question brought to you by TrueCar before introduce the poll question to Daniel Jeremiah and the listening and viewing audience. Car shopping can be confusing with terms like dealer price, list price, and invoice. TrueCar shows you what other people paid for the car you want. You can recognize a good price. When you're ready to buy new or used, visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Chris, have at it.
Looking at 2-0 teams, which is the most fugazi? Bengals, Broncos, Bucks, Dolphins.
Ooh, that is a good question. The Broncos they're an interesting team. I mean, because defensively, I love what they have defensively. Case Keenum is a little bit of a roller coaster.
Phillip Lindsay looks like they might have found
He's a good
somebody,
player.
huh?
Yeah, ultra productive. Just didn't have the size that that kind of kept him from being on the radar. But man, he's been great. He is a great kid. I don't know if you ever had a chance to visit with him. He's awesome.
TD didn't just give his 30 to anybody for any reason, too.
He is an awesome.
He
kid.
likes him a lot.
Yeah.
So you choose the Broncos in that department?
Yeah, I just don't know with them. I feel like the Dolphins. I said they'd be a 10-6 team. I got a lot of laughs on that one, but I think defensively they're pretty darn good. And offensively up front, it's funny. We are so quick to, we'll put guys in the Hall of Fame after a couple starts and we'll kill guys. Laramie Tunsil, Rich, is playing really good right now.
Okay. There you go.
So that whole bus thing, you can put that aside.
All right, we'll do that. At Move the Sticks on Twitter, the Move the Sticks podcast you do with Bucky Brooks. It's awesome. Enjoy calling games this weekend.
Well, can I give you one thing for MJD?
Please.
Neutral field. I'll take App State over UCLA any day of the week. Any day of the week. Let's get this done.
He might be in the green room right now. I think he might have heard that gauntlet thrown down from all the way from LAX where he just landed if he's not here yet. Hey, you almost got Penn State. We almost had the misery almost had company.
I do appreciate your texts when we come close on those, by the way. It's very nice. Yeah.
And that's why you called me when the Jets were up. Yeah. Good to see you, Daniel Jeremiah. That's Daniel Jeremiah.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.